questions from you guys. And also let me know if you have any wins for the week, if you have like any intentions for the week, like that you are working on, or that's like, okay, I really want to focus on this for the week. And then if you have any wins, if you're like, you know what, I didn't respond to this the same way, I reacted differently in this way, let me know, or let us know. So the neurological reprogramming tool that I want to start or for the week is just an extension of like the inner child work we've been talking about. And it's just meeting, if you haven't met your inner children, because I'm oftentimes when I talk about when we get triggered, it's actually from when it's an old response. It's an old childhood response that is still left over. It's still residual, and it's still causing you the same. I am feeling better, a lot better today. Hold on one sec, but my throat is being weird. Okay, hopefully that helps. So we have these like trigger and we're like, oh, I'm always that way. And I need to, and my brain won't shut off. And you're actually over identified with this trigger or like maladaptive behavior, high bones, that's getting in your way and that you don't need anymore. And maybe at one time, like you really did need to, be hyper vigilant, or you did need to have that knee-jerk reaction in that way, and you just don't anymore. You just don't anymore. And that is a very liberating thing. But we a lot of times you're not aware of that, and then so you're stuck in this thing, and it could get in the way of your relationships, and it could get away in the way of you getting what you want. It could sabotage you in certain ways, and you know what that behavior or trigger or like just old maladaptive pattern is. And so one of your inner children needs to be tended to. And when that is the case, you could say, what part of me, and by the way, in psychology, this is called family systems, this inner child work, it's called family systems, because you still have all of these parts alive in you, like it's an actual family inside of you. So you could say, what part of me is feeling triggered right now? Not the 2026 version of you, but is it the 8-year-old who felt like they were always abandoned? Or is it the teenager that felt like she was never, or he was never seen or heard? And go to that version of yourself and then ask that version of yourself, what do you want or need right now? And it probably is what's triggering you right now in the moment. Like, I need everything to feel safe. I need everything to feel calm. I need security. I need to be seen and heard, whatever it is. And then let yourself tell that version of yourself, yeah, I know. I remember when you didn't get your needs met in that way. And it sucks that the adults in your life were not able to provide that for you, but I'm here and I'm providing that for you now. And so you can go play, you can be a kid or a teenager or whatever version of yourself. And it could be you like 5 years ago, by the way, too. So you can just do whatever you want to do, and I'll take care of it. You're safe now. You're secure now. You're taken care of. You are seen and heard. Okay. So you don't have to get triggered by that anymore. And then continue to, and as you talk to these parts of yourself, they'll start to ask more questions. They'll start to communicate with you more, like they're real people, because they are. The psychologist that first discovered this was like, he was in a psych ward, and he was noticing that certain patients weren't getting better until they started talking to these parts of themselves. That's how it got, like, no meds, nothing. This is what helped them. And so when you start to talk to these parts of yourself, they will communicate back with you. And all of a sudden, the things that used to trigger you, the numbing out behaviors that you used to have, drop away. So just over this next week, just get to know, if you're already doing that, awesome, do it more. But get to know your inner children. If anything is triggering you, if you feel anxious or just grumpy, any emotion that comes up, ask yourself, what part of me, and it's probably from the past, needs to be tended to, needs to be looked at, needs a little love right now. Okay, so that is the neurological reprogramming tool for the week. Getting to know your inner children on a deeper level. And there's so many exercises to do with this, but you have to get to know them first. You have to know who they are and what they need. And sometimes they've been unconsciously running the show, like throwing a tantrum, trying to get noticed, trying to get their needs met, of course, right? So that is what is going on with that. I know Miss Priya has if you have any questions related to mental health, relationships, personality disorders, toxic relationships, let me know. And I will get to these questions. Like I said, like I'll wait for Miss Priya to show up, but let me look at the other questions. People had a lot to say, or people were asking me about like this whole thing about in my last, what was that? Wednesday? Yeah, because it's Sunday. So on Wednesday, I was talking about narcissism or any of the personality disorders being cured. And it's not like you can come in and cure them, they have to have a willingness. I have personally noticed that people with borderline personality disorder are the most aware and willing to evolve, to admit that they have that cluster or those defense structures or that defense mechanism and want to heal it and they're just frustrated. They don't want to live like that. And I think it's also just like vacillating between those two worlds. And they just always want help more than other personality disorders. Now, having said that, sometimes borderline, I mean, people that are really deep into it, like the part of their whole like victim, like charade, if you will, that they're putting on is to say they want help and then they don't want help. And they're like, I'm really trying. And then they do this whole thing. And it's part of, they're like literally getting high off of being the victim. So I'm not really, and I can pinpoint those people in my private practice. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to pay me to just like co-sign your bullshit. Like, and I will literally say something like that because a lot of them do. And a perfect example of this, and not a lot, I don't know if you watch this show, but is on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. The basically main character of the show, her name's Taylor Frankie Paul or something like that. And she has all of the things, right? You know, she's dating this toxic guy, but she's always the victim, just such a victim. And then she does this thing where she gets all victimized in her mind and then creates more of a victim story that's actually like, well, are you going to take responsibility for your side of this? No. And then her friends and family do this thing like, why are you doing this? Oh my God, get out of the situation. But they like that attention. You know, they're like, okay, oh my God, you're the victim. And then, but they're like, and they run back to the thing that is causing all the chaos. They're liking the chaos. They're liking being a victim. They're liking it. It's literally a high. I don't know what else to say except for that. And if you don't have that disorder, it's not going to make sense, but it really kind of feels good to them. And so with those type of, I'm not talking about that. Like those people go in and out of therapy and they're like, and I've been to every type of retreat center or whatever those like, you know, thinking I'm just broken. It's like they're just so married and addicted to their victim story. And so you know, and sometimes those people like slowly they chip away and they come around and they're just like, I'm so sick of being like this. This is gross to do this. It served me and then it didn't. So it can be an evolution, but I'm just saying that there's a distinct difference. And then the borderline people that are really ready to go, they're kind of like, yeah, I've had these behaviors. I do this and I don't want to do it anymore. I want to feel free of these things and I want to have a real relationship and I want to like live life on a like healthier, stabler level. And I don't want to see everything in black and white. And I don't want to get triggered as fuck all the time because, you know, my partner went to the grocery store or whatever it is. Bob, yeah, that's definitely a thing I can confirm. LOL. Bob has talked about like his evolution and journey with borderline. I mean, his thing is BPD, Bob, borderline personality disorder. Like, so attention, negative or positive, can be addiction at times. Oddly enough, dating someone else with BPD, with borderline, was eye-opening for me. I was like, oh, so that's what that so that's what it's like to on the receiving end. But, like, you were ready for that to you had made enough progress in your evolution to meet that mirror, right? And so, because everyone's a mirror, everyone's teaching us something. And so, it's actually really great that you got far along enough to see that mirror and you didn't like what you saw, right? So that's awesome. And it is true. It's really like an addiction to any form of attention. But there is something I do feel like the borderline, unlike narcissists where they love the praise, they need the praise and that they need those type of supply, and then they also need the supply where they just offload and make other people feel like shit. Borderline people, they will be like, I'm the piece of shit. Like, whereas narcissists are very threatened by that. They're like, no, I'm perfect. I've done nothing wrong, type of thing. They will, like, borderline people will feign accountability or this thing, but it's like victim, like, you're right. It's so terrible. Like, and that type of thing. And then they'll get their supply to be like, no, you're not terrible. The other person is terrible. You're just a victim. Like, bitch, please, type of thing. And it's really, even when I'm watching those shows sometimes, I'm just kind of like, "Oh my god, that's borderline supply." That, if you have friends like that, hold on one sec. If you have friends or a friend who's always in and out of these toxic relationships or chaotic situations, and they're like, "I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did." Or they do, and they're like, "Oh, well," and then have this, like, herd of people that don't like them, and then they're like, "I'm the victim." They enjoy being the victim, I promise you that. They are liking it. They are liking the hate that they're getting from the one side, and they're liking the supply that they have that they're calling for. They don't care. They don't have friends. They're talking shit about the people that are their friends. They hate those friends. But anyway, just like narcissists do. But those friends, at least for now, they're like, that they're getting the, "Oh, poor baby" attention from. They are loving that. It's just like ecstasy for them. So please know that these people, and this is like more of on the borderline trajectory, borderline personality disorder trajectory, they love that. And it's not real like accountability, and it's not real. They're just really getting high off of victimhood, like an alcoholic gets drunk off their drink. They're literally getting drunk off of that. Isn't there a Taylor Swift lyric about that? Like, "Oh, I get drunk off of jealousy." Like, they really get drunk off of these negative emotions, and you're like, "What?" You're confused. "What's good, everyone? I personally feel attacked." That's me. Hey, Fresh. Let's see. Hey, Miss Priya, I'm gonna answer your question right now. How many toxic relationships have you been in? A couple. The primary one being my parents. Okay, let me answer. I don't think I screenshotted it. Let me look in YouTube. So, okay, question. Is there a condition such as empathy addiction, like you're addicted to going from person to person, looking for that empathy to give you a calming feeling or dopamine high? If you don't get it from one person or source or another, is there a healthy balance to this? That's not healthy at all. So, and that's not an empathy addiction. That is a victim addiction. And I kind of wrote about that a little bit, but to really answer it, you are addicted to victimhood if that is your thing. And really, you're not looking, there's a you're not looking for a solution. If you go to more than one or more, you're not looking if you go to like a bunch of people like you're saying, you're not looking for an answer, you're looking for an audience. Okay? Because you are. And you're not really wanting you could look up a video and get an answer. You want this, you have this bottomless pit of a need for attention in that way, and you're looking for all these people as supply to give you something, to give you that poor baby, like, victim thing, so you really don't have to take accountability for anything. So it's not an empathy addiction. You're not looking for empathy. You're not looking for an answer, you just want an audience. And so, or whomever is like this, and this is it's I was exactly just talking about this, and borderline people a lot of times do exhibit that, where they want to be in that and they really get a high off of it. So, and that's what I'm reading here, is that you're kind of getting high off of this. And do you, I mean, do you really, what do you need empathy about? Sometimes when you're healing and you're working with someone, yeah, you want someone that's empathic and understands what's going on, but that's kind of like a synergistic thing that happens with someone else when you're actually healing, taking accountability and doing the work and wanting to not stay in this state of sadness or grief, or, which is really like a victimhood type of thing. So that's what's going on. And yeah, there's no such thing as an empathy addiction. It's called victimhood addiction. Uh, Hi, J. Ro. How are you? Oh, thank you. You're sweet. Yeah, so let me know if you guys have any questions about mental health. And also, like, write it down. What are your wins for the week? What went right for you? Whatever you give energy to, you get more of. Your thoughts, just like all the energy, your thoughts are very powerful electromagnetic forms of energy. Literally, they are. Even though we're taught to not think anything of them, like, oh, you can't see your thoughts. Bitch, you can't see gravity either. I mean, you could tell it exists. How do you know electricity, like, does its thing? Like, there's a lot of things you can't see that work, obviously. So don't tell me about that, or don't use that as an excuse. But, like, because a lot of people do, a lot of naysayers. But what you give energy to, what you think about the most, is what you create in your life, is the outcome that you produce. So that's why I like you guys celebrating your wins, even if it's or you think it's a small one. I don't really believe in a small win, because everything feeds off of each other. So if you have any wins that you want to celebrate, and if you have any intentions for the week, let me know, or let us know. Just put it out there into the ether. Um, let me, my D&D group started up again after a couple of weeks off. Of course, it counts as a win. Nice, Bob. I love it. Can having FOMO create motivation to get out and do it? Yeah, it can. It definitely can. If you're not sitting around like, oh, but yeah, FOMO, any form of those type of like longing type of feelings, or wanting, or like wanting, chasing, like that type of thing. You don't want to stay in that state, because, again, all emotions are one, they're energy in motion. They're meant to flow through you, and they're also information. They're like a GPS system. So we don't over identify with them like, I'm sad, I have FOMO, like that. You are not an emotion, but they're informing you. So if it's like, ooh, I have FOMO, I want that, then that's just an indication to go towards that, to get what you want in that way. So yeah, it can be informative in that way. Um, Avian, how are you? How you doing today? Miss Priya, something you've been procrastinating? If that's what the FOMO is about, yeah, then that's your sign to go for it, to get over whatever, get out of your comfort zone and go for it. That's what I'm hearing. Big Pontiac, how are you? I'm actually, what does that say? Ambidextrous, but lately I have been using my backhand instead of switching to my left hand. I took your advice and reprogrammed myself to switch to my left hand, and while playing pickleball. I love it. And you're also probably activating a different part of your brain when you do that. There's actually a lot of good to that, like with anything. Even if you're not ambidextrous, just try writing with your left hand. That is another good neurological reprogramming tool when you are doing inner child work, by the way, is to when you are, if you're talking to an inner child and you could write with your right hand, like, hey, how are you? How are you feeling? And then with your left hand, like if you're right handed, for instance, you write with your dominant hand. Okay, let me put it that way. Whatever your dominant hand is, you write, how are you doing? I love you. All the things you want to say to your inner child. Then with your non dominant hand, or your less dominant hand, if you're ambidextrous, then you have your inner child answer. That's a really good one. That a lot of people are very surprised when they do it, because a lot of times with these inner child, they're like, oh my, okay, Lauren, fine, I'll try it. And then they're really surprised at what comes up, but you're using and activating a different part of your brain. So a lot of stuff can come up that you weren't expecting. No one want to see my left hand. I get it. I mean, no one wants to see any of my handwriting. It's terrible. I go back and I try to read it sometimes. It's not cute. So, but it's worth trying. Or you can do, it's called non-dominant handwriting exercises. You can do it about anything. Like, have your right hand write one thing and then the left hand can answer in a different way, or just write whatever your non-dominant hand is, just start journaling. You'd be surprised. It's super interesting. All right. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'm going to pull up the live on here as well. Do you have any other questions? So, oh, here it is. So I could see the comment. Oh my gosh. Thought I put the volume down. Okay. And I'm going to go to some other screenshots that you guys had, or I'm sorry, comments that I pulled up. Another comment that I got, and I get a lot actually just sprinkled throughout, is like, do they know, are they ever going to change? Are they ever going to, no. And if they don't want to, and I'm talking about personality disorders, the narcissists, they find new supply and then they're fucking miserable. They just get more and more miserable. And I have to tell you guys, I have never, I have dated a few narcissists. My mom is a narcissist, and then when you still have those unhealed parts of yourself or your past, you'll continue to attract it until you heal it. And and I'm like, I always tell you, these people, they never leave you alone. They're always like in the background lurking. And every time, I have narcissistic exes, they'll pop up and they are fucking worse. They're worse. They're still doing the same shit, but they're worse. And all of their friends are like, oh, you were the best, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, of course I was. But like, no, like, they're like, oh, would you ever get back with him? Fuck no. And the person that I am now would never even, so if you're worried about that, like, because there is that stage of grief where you're really angry and you're like, how are they getting away with this? And they're doing it to other people. They will play themselves out. You focus on you, okay? You focus on yourself and being the best version of yourself you can, and you will fucking laugh at that. You'll laugh at, like, and then kind of be like ill and grossed out, like, I would never date you. I would never even be your friend, right? You will get there, I promise. But the more and more you focus on you and you pour that energy and love into yourself that the narcissist was trying to drain out of you, it will all fall into place for you, and you will be in the best era of your life. I promise you that. That is what I constantly teach you. And in my course, if you take my course, that is the first thing I tell you, that every area of your life is going to get better because you're bringing all of your energy back to you. You're taking all of your power back instead of letting it be drained from these toxic ass people that just want to drain your energy and don't give a fuck about you. So once you start to do that, you start to empower yourself. Everything starts to get better. And all of a sudden you're creating a new neural pathway where you don't give your energy to energy vampires. You stop attracting them. And so every area of your life gets better in a short amount of time. It doesn't have to take a long time. But if you continue to, I mean, and I'm talking about letting your energy drain even with thoughts, okay? So you're on a level you're not even letting them disempower you or take your energy away by thinking about them. That's how much you don't give a fuck, okay? So we're on that level of not giving a fuck, and you are back to main character energy where your life is about you and you are the main character in your life, not some fucking dusty, pathetic, chaotic narcissist or borderline or whatever that refuses to work on themselves. Okay. And we're also not falling for the I've changed. No, they haven't. They just are trying to pull you back in. We know that. Okay. So that is the point of your evolution. And this is about you and your come up and your personal evolution. It's your life, not theirs. But I do understand that phase of grief. And it really is a phase of grief. So if you could stop yourself when that's happening and say, okay, this is just me grieving this relationship and it'll pass. So I don't have to clench or like sink my metaphorical subconscious claws into this, because it's really just you being hurt. That someone would do that, being hurt by the past and by the fact that you fell in love with someone that didn't exist, especially in relationships, and you feel duped and you feel sad and taken advantage of. That's what that's really about. So, and yes, everyone plays themselves out. And then if one of these narcissists or toxic people ends up in a long-term relationship or married, they deserve each other. They like attracts like, okay? So they deserve each other. They can fucking torture each other. And you're just out there living your best life. Okay, boo. Thank you, Big Pontiac. It's not even worth warning their current partner. Yes, because they'll just team up against you and make you look bad. Tried that once. Yeah, they'll team up against you, make you look bad until, that partner gets played the same way. And then also, because really it's not about warning the next person. It's really about you needing to grieve and release that part of you that's inside you that was so hurt, that feels so, and it's an abandonment and trauma wound from a long time ago that just got repeated. I'm telling you, it's an old trauma wound. And that's what you really want to do. Not that you're an insensitive person, but it's not that you really care about the current partner. You don't fucking know the current partner, and the current partner's stupid. Like they have their healing journey ahead of them. So it's not even about that. And I didn't mean to call them stupid, but you know what I mean? They're very naive at this point and they're being love bombed and brainwashed. So, but it's not even about them. It's about you. It's about you still needing to heal and release something that's very hurt. And, I can understand wanting to warn someone if they're like very physically abusive, but you could call the police for that. You could do legal things when it comes to that. And if the other person, if you're dating someone that has like all this legal stuff on them, then, that's still on you. And there are people like that. Okay. I have to remind you that there are people that are in prison. Okay. Like just like the Menendez brothers, all this stuff that had all these like women fawning over them. There are people that are that sick on that end of things, on the codependency side of things, that are so addicted to that toxic relationship pattern that they literally go after men that have been, convicted of murder and all of these things. I'm talking like federal prison type of things. And they will find these men and like start love affairs with them and be like, I'm going to marry you. And here's money to put on your books and everything. So people, that's a real addiction. Like I told you, you could be addicted to anything. So there's a real addiction to being um, in in love with and serving toxic people. It's kind of like, okay, well, my dad was like this and was a criminal or was, you know, a murderer or a rapist or whatever. And so it's a really horrible, horribly maladaptive attempt to have, you know, heal your daddy issue or heal that daddy wound, which is only making it worse. But yes, so so trust me, if that's why I'm saying like attracts like. If someone's gonna do that, they're gonna do that. And it's always gonna end terribly for them. And eventually the narcissist doesn't have anything to do with you. You worry about you, which is hard in the beginning to rewire your nervous system to only focus on you. It's like because your brain has been kind of brainwashed in a way and gaslit to think that you're selfish and all these things. So you really have to, when I'm working with someone or my course students, I'm like, what, hey, are we focused on ourselves? Are we focused on ourselves? What are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for self-care? How are you thinking about yourself? It's all about you now. Fresh. Watching, this is why I like watching these. It reminds me to what? To fix up the mental state before the new week. Yes, that is what Soothing Sundays is about. It's regulating and recalibrating for the week. FTI. I didn't even know ya can get away from OCD till you broke it down. Yeah, you absolutely can. You know, psychiatrists don't want you knowing that, but you can. It's just on the anxiety spectrum, and you can release that. Let me go back to here because I can see it better. On YouTube, let me see. Miss Priya, a family member always says, let's talk about this when they disagree with the decision I made, but I have this feeling that they're going to corner me again and make me justify. They might, if that's the pattern and you don't want to do that, then stop doing it. I used to get caught up in that like negative pattern with a family member, and then they just want to project all their negativity onto you. So why? I mean, you could just say, we've done this before, and all you want to do is have an argument. So no. I mean, it's your decision. And so and by the way, it's okay to disagree with people. And you're saying like disagree with the decision I made. I mean, is this your husband? Is this someone that like is in your household that you like? Otherwise, who cares? Like it's not their life, it's your life. So why are these people having so many opinions about whatever you do? Who cares? I mean, I would be like, I don't care. It's my life, not yours. Avian, good thing I keep to myself to avoid problems. Yeah, and then you also get to have loving, supporting people around you, Avian. So you don't want to be like always like I have to keep everything to myself. Like I want you to also have like a support system around you where it doesn't feel like your problems are a burden. Because sometimes when we have toxic parents and it's like, oh, they don't want it, it's like everything's a burden. It's like, no, you're not a burden. And I really want you and everyone to know that you're not a burden. And sometimes when we're made to feel like that, we either shrink down or then we unconsciously or consciously shrink down, or we get really like dramatic and chaotic and everything. It's like, okay, I guess I am like more on the borderline spectrum. Like, okay, well, if you say so, then I am chaotic, or you just have this, and it's all kind of like an unconscious fuck you, like, oh, I'm a burden. Well, let me show you how much of a fucking burden I can be. And so you're just really chaotic all the time, even though you don't want to be. But it's just that you responding to that unhealed wound where you weren't met, where your needs weren't met. Hot Rod, you can't spot covert narcissists in the beginning because the abuse creeps up on you. You can. You can. Honestly, the thing is like we often don't want to because it feels really good because they're so nice and they're typically so generous and but if you look around, within a week or two, you can see they have like a lot of superficial friends and you'll have a pattern of like they're the total victim. Oh my god, they're such a victim. Like, let me tell you how my ex-wife, my ex-husband, blah blah blah, how I'm just the total victim in the situation. Not that there aren't cases like that, but there's a palpable difference. And when you start like looking into it, you can see, like, for instance, I'll tell you, like, this one time, I caught this guy and I like called him out on it. And it was just like, I think it was a second date. And he was just like, oh yeah, my ex-wife's a gold digger. Boom. Like, why is every woman a gold digger? I mean, he said that about a few women already, but tell me how your ex-wife's a gold digger. And it was like just regular legal California. He just was mad that he had to pay anything for divorcing her. Why'd you get a divorce? Oh, well, we're two different people, blah, blah. And I just got married because, I was at a point where I wanted a child. Okay, so you used her because you wanted a child. Then you're mad because you're not getting along because you never loved her. Right. Okay, so you used her as supply and now you're acting like a victim. And I'm like, okay, well, what is she doing that's so terrible? And he was just mad because he had to give her money after, and I was just like, no. And then I said it. I'm like, so you're a victim and you're upset because you used this woman, you put on this show and you acted like you were someone that you weren't. And so and she agreed to have a baby with you. You guys got married, all this stuff. And then you got sick of her and divorced her. And now you're upset because he was well off. And then, so now that you have to pay her, so she gets to have like a pretty nice life, like a nice life and not work. And she can vacation with her stupid boyfriend. And now you're mad about that. You should have thought about that. What do you want to do? Have her, like, he was just upset that, she was like living a nice life he was pissed about that. You used her. Okay, so now you're feeling, shut up, like this whole like victim thing. And that's just one example, but they have this whole like, I'm such a victim, I have all this blah blah blah. But you'll notice that just like all narcissists, the closer someone is to them, the more they treat that person like shit. So if you're observant, you can see it. We just don't want to be sometimes because it feels so good and we're getting what we kind of want out of it, and we like how that feels. But I'm telling you, if you're really observant within the first month, you could catch it. Bob, you can see some signs, love bombing being, yeah, all of them love bomb. All of the personality disorders love bomb, yeah. And love bombing being one of them, but yeah, it could be hard to pick up on. It can be, but yeah, love bombing and the over, just like so generous type of thing is a lot more prominent with the covert narcissist. FTI. That's so obvious now you mention it. Of course, that's what's happening. Peter, how are you? Nice to see you. Hi, Lauren. How are you? I'm doing well. Been a while. I've been busy. Hope to be back on schedule by next weekend. I still has been not about me, but will once I return. Well, good to see you, Peter. How do you have any wins that you want to celebrate? I'm sure you have some. We got to find you a tablet or something. You're going to I have this, okay? I have my phone. Hi, Hannah. Avian, self-focus is very important to me. I just don't want anyone to bother me or harass me. Word, I get that. I need my peace and stay lonely to function better and stay focused of what I need to do and stay I hear that. That's valid. And I think that there's a good balance, especially if you're introverted. I'm kind of like, I regulate on my own. I'm fine, and I could do a lot on my own. But there is a balance between that and then being okay with allowing healthy people that deserve your energy and being discerning about that to be supportive, and not letting anyone in. But like, we don't want to just like shut everyone off, and then we don't want to just not have boundaries. And but it sounds like you're someone that is more introverted and you can regulate on your own. I'm just saying that there are supportive people, even if it's just coming here and getting support and letting um and us letting you know that you're loved, and whatever we can do in this space to help you, even if it's just that. You know what I'm saying, Avian? um yeah, bad talking exes immediately is usually a red flag. Yes, that's another one. And then you're just the victim, like, or they're just the victim and their exes did everything wrong. Come on. What do you mean prenup, J-Ro? What do you mean? Expand on what you're asking. The text on the phone is too small, though. No, I could see it. I could see it. And I just think, like, especially, well, no, it happens sometimes, but especially like from being sick this past week, it's like I still have like a little bit of head thing, and it's like kind of a little bit blurry. Okay. FTI, I know what she means. I'm extrovert. You're extroverted? Extroverted people use other people's, like, they like being around other people. Introverted people are like, I'm cool. Miss Priya, my win was I caught 3 times when someone was baiting my energy for a confrontation, and I detached. Excellent. We love that. Clap, clap, clap. Yes. Just detach. Nothing to say. Really. I mean, because they want you to say something. They'll take anything, negative or positive. Don't give it to them. Yes, that is awesome, Miss Priya. I'm an ambivert. I prefer being alone, but I can socialize in small bursts. Same, Bob, same. Peter, a win. I stand my ground. Actually, I told my mom that if a decision I made turns out to be incorrect, it's okay. I'll learn not her I'll learn, not her problem. So taking complete responsibility for me and my, yes, I love that. And like, these toxic, narcissistic parents, they just want control. They don't care about if, you're about you making a mistake, or, oh my God, they always code it in that. Like, I'm just looking out for you. I'm your mother. I'm your father. And I'm just like protective. And it's you, it's the world, not like, shut the fuck up. You just want control over me and I'm not giving it to you. So I like that. It's like, thank you. I'm a grown ass adult, if you haven't noticed, and I can make mistakes and it's okay. Thank you for your input, and I no longer need it. Good job, Peter. Love that. FTI, been confident since I was no age, but now I like silence. Long story. I have a great family and friends, but the world has made me stay away from the nonsense, and it's great. Yeah. Yeah. Like I always tell you, your energy is precious. Only give it to the right people, places, and things. But okay, you're saying that guy that was well off, he should have gotten a prenup. Even if he did, and maybe he did, I can't remember actually, but even in a prenup, it's kind of like, okay, if there's usually some type of like financial agreement, he just needed to be a victim. And I'm telling you, that was his personality about everything. He was older and he acted like a child, like a little baby, like, and that's what Covert. And I'm like, ew, like that's the most unmanly thing. please leave me alone and never talk to me again. But, you know, it was just always this, I'm a victim about everything. In the short amount of time I knew him, it was like, I'm a victim. And then, you know, with his ex-wife, he was just it was just one supply he used to be a victim about everything, you know, because he's just this great guy. He's not. But I see what you're saying. Like, you're thinking from a logical place, maybe. But, you know, from what I can tell, like, she was just a nice, normal, you know, wife. And he didn't have any real, like, she didn't cheat. She didn't, like, do any, he just wanted to, like, play this thing that he was being victimized because he had to pay alimony or whatever it is, like, and it wasn't even that much. So, um, Bob, I'm just teasing about the phone. Don't, oh, no, it's fine. Tease away. Um, FTI, maybe I don't know what I am. LOL, take your professional opinion over my own. I'm a carpenter for 25 years. You know better than me, Liv. Yeah, no, extroverts are like, they like being out, they like socializing. They get energized from being around a lot of other people. And then introverts are the opposite. So introverts recharge on their own. They can, I mean, they don't love socializing so as much, and they get drained by other people at times. And then ambiverts, I do think most people are kind of like ambiverts. They're in the middle. They can, if you're an introverted ambivert, like, you can, like, just like Bob was saying, you could have these spurts of like social things. And then if you're kind of an extroverted ambivert, you like more of that, but you could have like more chill time than the total extrovert who always needs to, you know, be out doing something, which, oh my God, is so exhausting to even think about. Yeah. Peter, the more I learn about myself and work on myself, I'm realizing that I will totally be okay with myself. Somehow, somehow feel subconsciously I'm shutting the proverbial door. Yeah, the proverbial door to what for you? Like the toxic people from the past? But that is one of the biggest points, especially when you're healing from these toxic relationships, is that they I mean, they want complete control over you, so they can continuously manipulate and control you. And when you learn that you will be okay on your own, that you, because you've been in many relationships, right? Where you're in a relationship and you feel lonely. And maybe it's the loneliest you ever felt is why you're in a relationship, which is counterintuitive to a lot of people, unless you've been there. But the most empowering thing you can do when you heal, and it will happen when you heal, is realize that you there's like the fear, the idea of being alone or being afraid of being is just a fear that doesn't exist. It's an actual, it's, if you have that, you have an abandonment that you haven't healed. If you're worried about being alone, it's not the actual, like, I'm physically alone and I'm very much worried about that. You have an abandonment wound, and it's showing up as the fear of being alone. And it can also be reflected in that, like, if I'm not with someone, other people will judge me and think that I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy of a relationship. I'm not worthy of someone caring about me. That's what the brain will interpret that as, because you have not healed that abandonment wound. And so it is worth it to fix, not fix, it's worth it to heal and release that abandonment wound. And when you do, it's like this layer lifts, and it's like, oh, there's no, like, this whole concept of being alone doesn't really exist, and I'm always okay. And being with myself is wonderful, and that feels good and calm and grounding and secure. So I don't ever have to worry about anything or anything about being alone, because I'm really never alone. And when I'm in these relationships that don't serve me, that's when I'm actually the loneliest. That's when I'm actually the loneliest. That's when I'm actually the loneliest, so I'm not gonna do that to myself ever again. That realization will come if you're watching this and you're in that healing stage, know that that will come because sometimes the fear of being alone keeps us stuck in these toxic relationships, and it's like, "Okay, well, maybe I'll just put up with it. Maybe I'm just being a brat or I'm just being entitled and I should just put up with this." So, no, no, no. You deserve the best and you deserve to be loved and supported and feel safe in your relationship. Okay? Otherwise, you're gonna feel alone. Um, I meant the other door relationships. Yes. Yes, I agree, Peter. Avian, I'm the type of person who doesn't really socialize a lot. I'm always all alone just because I want my peace. I don't get along with people and giving me a hard time. I'm getting told for nonsense. Yeah, I agree. All I'm saying is, like, don't let it because I don't yeah, stay away from toxic people. All I'm saying is, like I was saying before, to you, Avian, is that shifting out of the belief system because we have trauma sometimes, like and so shifting out of the belief system that everyone is toxic and everyone is, like, out to get you and mean, that's not true. You had that experience, but you can say, "Okay, anyone that has the honor of being in my presence is supportive and loving and brings me peace." And that could be true for anything. That is one of my things. Everything in my life brings me peace. To if I'm gonna watch a show or a movie, to the food I eat, to the friends that I have, to the environment that I'm in, it gets to bring me peace. Otherwise, I'm not putting up with it. It's a hard no. I'm not doing it. So, and I don't have to. And I don't care if it's a, oh, they're your family. No, no. I bring everyone in my life a lot of peace and a lot of if you're not doing that for me, fuck off. Like, I'm just not doing it. But I do make space for people that make my life better, that bring me joy. So all I'm saying is to have that balance, but also just maybe to shift your belief system to the fact that there are people out there, Avian, that really want to love and support you and that just bring you peace. Those people exist, I promise you. Not everyone is just toxic. I just said that. Fresh, not everyone is toxic. See? It's being reflected back. Um, and it's only being reflected back because you're in a space where you can hear that. Yeah, you can find people who will just, like, sit with you. Exactly. Exactly, Bob. Not like, non-interruptive, different activities, but the same room. Yeah, like, just having people that are peaceful, you could watch a movie with them or whatever, those people exist. I'm here to tell you, and I want you to start to integrate that into your belief system because, Avian, you could be focused too much on people suck, okay? And there are some people that suck, yeah, and we don't hang out with those people. They're not here, okay? Those people can hang out with each other and make each other miserable. But I want you to give more energy and attention to the fact that there are a lot of amazing people just like you. And you can bring those people into your life and they can make your life more peaceful and they could enhance your life in a better way. Um, Peter, if you had to put a percent on toxic versus non toxic people in the general population, what would your guess be? I don't know because toxic people, they don't go around reporting themselves. So, like, even those studies about, you know, how many people are narcissists, they have to be so off because they're people don't go around self-reporting and saying those type of things. And also, I would challenge that by saying, "Who cares?" Like, again, what you give your energy to, you get more of. So I'm just focused on the fact that I really want you guys to be in an abundance mindset. There's an abundance of healthy, happy people who love and support you and are kind and are doing great things for themselves and humanity and you. And that's all I want to focus on and like growing that percentage of people. That's all I care about. So who cares? And, a lot of people were like, oh, I'm just so like I'm chosen and all this. Everyone's chosen. Okay. But I just want you to focus on what you want more of in your life. So I'm not giving energy to toxic people. The only reason, if you notice, my content is about like helping you if you've been in a relationship with these type of people, helping you understand what the fuck is going on, because it's very confusing. But I'm very solution based. I'm like, here is why you would attracted that person into your life, and let's heal that part of you so you can have the best life possible, and you can go on to have the best relationship that in every area of your life, like romantically, work-wise, friendship, but it's all about you. You are the main character in your life, and we are just like eliminating the toxicity around us. Like it's like I always say, it is your video game. This is your video game. You're the main character in your video game. So we're just like getting rid of the toxic people out of there, because our strength is growing, because we're focused on ourselves. So I don't know. And I don't care ever. Like even the stats or whatever, I'm like, I don't care about the stats. I care about you and what's going on with you. And if you're achieving your goals, that's what I care about. FTI. Do you go out of your way to help strangers? That's lethal. Very good, love. Okay. I don't know, maybe I'm reading that wrong. Good question, Peter. Good call. Focus on Peter. Good call. Focus on adding the right people, no matter what the percentages are. Yeah. I'm not focused on like any of it. Even with stuff that's being exposed by, certain people, like from the Epstein files and stuff, it's like, okay, some of us already knew that was going on. So what do we like? And I think it's good to have the awareness. So like, let's stop empowering those people. Let's stop, like, we have to, whatever you can do to not give that energy. And with people that are toxic, that might be close to you in your life, just stop giving them energy. Don't talk to them. Don't do anything. Stop working for them if and when you can. Like the more we don't give them energy and disempower them, then they don't have power, or they'll find new supply. And then, but as long as this message is being distributed and the right people will, when they're ready on their healing journey, will hear it. But, this is the most awareness that there has ever been about these toxic personalities and how abusive they are. So just focus on you and being the best version of you, instead of like, how many of them are there? And I mean, I understand that question too, especially if your parents are that way. Because I remember thinking that when I was a kid, and I'm like, am I the only one that has parents like this? And then I remember when I was in first grade, my best friend, ironically, had a mom that was very much like that. And I'm like, oh my God, there's another mom that's like that. And so I remember we would talk about it a lot, because it's like, your mom, is mean like the same way my mom is. Like, it was identical. I didn't know, like, at the time, that all narcissists have the same defense mechanisms, and all narcissistic mothers have the same pattern with their children, especially their daughters, with certain things. So it's kind of like we just have to heal from it and stop giving it power. I have to wrap up soon, you guys. I was going to do an hour. I started late, so actually I have to go to dinner tonight. So thank you for all the amazing questions. Bob, thank you for holding it down here. It doesn't seem like that we got that many creepers, but I appreciate you and all of your wonderful feedback. Thank you so much. Let's all say thank you to Bob. And also, if you're new, I live stream every Wednesday and at 6 p.m. Pacific, and then Sundays for Soothing Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific. Okay. And all of my information is in the description. And yeah, tough was, hold on. Yeah, tonight was very tame. Hard to avoid being pessimistic about people and relationships since you just want inner peace, but will focus on me. Thanks again, Lauren and Bob. Of course. It's hard at first and then it becomes a habit, just like anything else. So keep doing that. Thank you, Fresh. And I'll see you again. And again, the community thing, there's a link to it. Let me know what you guys think. I might still do a Discord. Let me know what you think about that. You could write it in the comments because I have to get off right now, what you think about that or Discord. But I'm really excited about the prospect of doing a community, an extended community. Bob is the man. So let me know about that. But I will see you guys Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.